webinar series that we'll be doing on generative AI for work. Currently, I believe we all use generative AI, and it's now changing how we work and transforming how we do things, whether for work or for business. Today's webinar, we are going to be looking at understanding Claude Cowork. In my own opinion, Claude is the best AI tool at the moment, but there are other good tools out there. But we will start with that. So we're going to learn how to automate workflows and tasks using Claude Cowork and how to use them to solve personal and business challenges. We just a brief overview of our company. So we are based in the UK. We do practical training and, like I said before, build complex and simple automations for organizations and businesses. Since launching, we've trained more than 500 professionals, and we've been partnering with some other organizations delivering training. And I think we've had a high satisfaction rate across all our programs. So we deliver personalized training. So normally when we work with organizations, we work with them from ground zero, understand their needs, what they do, and how AI can easily be implemented across all their teams and departments. So that way, the value of using AI is immediately achieved. This webinar is going to be a 1 hour webinar, so I will be a bit fast, and we are going to go over 3 to 4 slides I have here. Then we will just do some practical work. Hopefully, if you are just joining, we've shared a link in the group chat so you can complete the Google form. Then hopefully we'll be able to use that to do some practice. But today we are going to see how all of us here can be able to set up Claude Code in 1 week. So you start using it. I did a poll, but I'm not sure. Let me not pull up my Mentimeter now, but just a raise of hand or thumbs up. How many people use Claude Code? Claude Cowork, rather. Okay. Interesting. Okay, that's good. Okay, so Claude Cowork is one of the, I think it's one of the key tools that Anthropic released. Anthropic is one of the leading AI companies. So it's more of an agentic desktop platform that helps you works on your computer. So instead of all the uploading of our files in cloud and with the limitations, it can now work on your computer and do tasks for you. Most of the chatbots we use, like the normal Claude Web or ChatGPT or Gemini, they can do some things for you and also answer questions intelligently, which is good. Or we are transitioning to a level where AI agents are becoming, are playing more important roles in our day-to-day activities. And Claude Cowork is one of those ones that is leading it, especially for non-technical people. So they are trying to ensure that even non-technical people can use AI agents well. So one of the key features and functionalities of Claude Cowork is that it has direct access to your local files. So all the files you have on your computer, it has access to them. An advantage for this is that your documents don't leave your computer. They're kind of protected because it doesn't store you don't need to upload all your documents in the cloud or the platform. So it has access to your computer. But also one thing to be careful about is to limit access it has to your computer, because it has the capability to wipe or delete files. But there are ways we set up that, so which we are going to share with you today. Then the second one is long running and scheduled tasks. So it can do a lot of multitasking and take up tasks that are complex, time consuming, and run for a long time, even without, but for Claude Cowork, your computer has to be on for you to do all those long tasks over time. But once it's on, it can keep working. And there are some settings that you can do on your computer, and it keeps it on so that it doesn't go to sleep. Your computer doesn't go to sleep. But once you close your computer, it stops working. Then the other one is with their skills, they can generate very professional outputs for you. And one of the ways they use to work on complex tasks is what they call sub-agent coordination. So let's assume that a chatbot like ChatGPT, you can call it one agent. But when you want to do complex tasks, Claude Cowork can spin up a couple of them, and they work in parallel to make your work faster. So you don't have to wait a long time. So it just kind of makes it quite efficient. Now, it also has another feature, which is projects, and you can organize your work in folders to make the work persistent and so that they can have shared memory across chats. I'll explain that. Currently, they've also added the mobile access, so you can use Claude Cowork on your mobile phone, even Telegram, so you can give it instructions while you're on the go. You don't need to be on your computer, and it goes and performs the task. One of the ways it does the work is it first of all analyzes your work, does decomposition. So it breaks down complex tasks into manageable subtasks, and it now executes in a virtual environment on the cloud, but your documents are still in your local computer. Now it does parallel processing so that it can deliver your work faster. And once it's finished, it saves your work in your local computer. I think this is actually a very big change. They've been working on it, but once there is one new tool that came out, one open source tool called OpenClaw. I don't know if anybody has heard about that. They had to quickly update their system so that they will keep leading the AI race. Okay, so I'll just go show how you can set up your desktop app and before we do the demonstration. So to set it up, you go to claude.com/download. You can download if you're using Mac OS, you download for Mac. If you're using Windows, you can download for Windows. Once you do that, the next step is to understand the key modes to use. So you have three modes. You have the chat, you have the Cowork, you have the code. But for the code, it's for developers. The chat is for quick questions like ChatGPT. But the key one we are looking at today is the Cowork, which will help you do a lot of work on your computer. Inside the Cowork, we will normally create a folder in our computer. You can name it anything, but with this example, we'll name it Claude Cowork. Because I mentioned that you have to be careful because Claude can delete your files if you've not given it specific instructions not to do that, and if you don't give it a task to do. But if you give it, one of the security features that they implemented is that you can provide a single folder where Claude can work in. So this is the only place it can work. But even at that, you can only tell it to not to delete anything it has done for you before. But inside this folder, we should put some files or organize our folder like this. You have a file called About You. So Claude should be able to understand how you work, things about you, how you write, and the way maybe your business or about your organization, your task, your role, everything. and your writing styles. Then you can create another folder which is called projects. What we suggest is that you create one project for one project folder for one live project. Then you have templates. I'm sure, like if you're working with something like proposals or Excel, you have templates that you use currently. Once you upload those templates there, whether it's PowerPoint, Word document, Excel, Claude will use those templates to work and give you the output as you expect. So apart from the folder, giving it a folder to work on, you can enable skills. Skills are ways, the best way I explain skills is like a standard operating procedure. So however you do task, let's say a particular task like writing proposals, I keep using that example, writing proposals or creating data analysis. In your organization or in your business, you may have written down a standard operating procedure so that when any other person wants to do that task for you, let's say you have a new team member, they already know the step-by-step guide and how you format and do things. So that is the same thing as skills. So that enables Claude to work on anything, the same thing repeatedly and give you the same output. Then you also have plugin. A plugin is like a group of skills merged together. Anthropic started it and they created plugin. It's just a group of skills and it does a workflow. Let's say marketing. So everything around marketing, they've done a couple of skill sets for marketing like branding, writing outreach emails, generating content. Everything is bundled in this marketing plugin. So once you enable it, you can now use these plugins to do your work. It makes it easier. The benefit of the skills and plugin is to reduce the prompting that you do. So sometimes when we want to prompt AI, you have to keep writing descriptions, do this, different instructions. But with these skills and plugins, they have standard templates, and you can also create your own, especially with the skill. Then the other one is the connectors. For connectors, Claude allows you to access your other tools, connect to other tools that you use, like your Gmail, your Google Calendar, Asana, Notion, Canva, Gamma AI. In fact, most of the tools that I use now, a lot of them have plugins or connectors rather. So an example is if you work with Canva a lot, you can connect Canva to your Claude, and Claude will use your Canva account and create presentations or designs for you in Canva. So once it does that, you can now go ahead and edit it. So it saves time, especially when you've done your prompting well as well. Then the other one is the schedule task. It just runs and does activities for you at this one is more of automation. So if you schedule tasks to be performed at different times, let's say every morning, check my emails and summarize it, identify important things for me. Don't let me miss any activity or what. So it will do it for you, and you can schedule different tasks for it. So we'll go through that as well. Then how you can use Claude Cowork. One of the key ways, when I started, I used it to do a lot of file organization. So renaming and moving files in my computer. In fact, if you watch YouTube videos or if you follow Claude, one of the examples that they give is organize your download folder. 1 minute, please. Okay, thank you. So to organize your download folder, most people, their download folder is always scattered, but if you give Claude instruction to go to your download folder, clean it up, put everything in different folders. Then another one is research and document drafting. It really does well with creating different reports, creating different documentation, documents you want to create. It's perfect for that. Then it can do other things like create charts for you once you give it access to maybe Telegram, Google Charts, any Slack, different things. It can do all those things, create group chats, add people from invite, do different things for you. Then scheduling, you can manage some of your daily activities like your meetings, even your Calendly, you can connect to that and do those for you. Then meeting follow-up. So most times when we have meetings like this, Claude will go on after the meeting. Gemini actually, I use Google Meet, so Gemini actually summarizes the meetings, but Claude can also summarize and assign responsibilities and send it to my team members. But these are just few ways you can use it there. The way I explain is, or the way somebody put it, that this is the best era to have problems with computer-based problems. Anything you can do on the computer. These tools are quite intelligent that anything that is giving you a challenge in your work or business, as far as it's computer-based for now, they can actually help you solve it. So anything you think of, you can solve it. And like I said, sorry if you just joined, I put up a Google form on the chat if you can also complete that. Okay. Then some of the best practices for Claude Cowork. Use Claude inside a project. So there are two ways you can use Claude. I will show you. You can just use it under the Claude Cowork panel, but you can also create a project. If you use it under the Cowork, the main UI, it doesn't save your previous conversations or whatever you've done in its memory. But if you put it inside a project, it will save the memory, and you can share that project with your team. So for most activities you can do, or most tasks, you should do it inside a project. I will show that. So the projects maintain context. So basically, Claude can remember past conversations on its own, but with projects, it keeps everything connected. Also, always remember to review draft before you Claude takes action. There is something we call ask question. If you give it a task, you tell it to use the ask question to clarify that it understands or get more clarifications from you, and make sure it understands your task before it continues, and stay in the loop to prevent errors. Then Claude skills is very key. Even when you are doing any work, you can, after working with Claude on any task, and you get the best output you want, you can just tell it to create a skill based on that flow that you've done, so that the next time you want to do that, you really understand how you work. So as much as possible, try to create skills for different things you do. Okay. Then, okay, these are some of the prompts that we can use later today. So clean and organize your downloads with the generate summary document and different things. Okay, I will stop here for now and take any questions before we move to the next stage. So does anybody have any question?
No, that's been good so far.
Okay, so thank you. So okay, let me just open okay, I need to plug with my okay. So if you want to download Claude, you go to okay. This is the Claude web is claude.ai, right? Is the web version. But if you want to download the Claude Cowork, you go to claude.com/download. So this is a web version that is quite popular, but if you want to download, you just navigate to claude.com/download. It's something, the network is a bit slow over here, so you can download for Windows or download, no, because I'm using a Windows machine, it's automatically ask me to download for Windows. But if you're on Mac OS, I'm sure you'll see download for Mac OS. Once you download, you just follow the prompt, and it's not too much. At some point, you also have to log into your Claude account. So the first thing you actually need to do is to log into Claude AI, and let me see if I can log out of this and create a new account with Claude if you don't have a Claude account first. So you have to go through this first, create a new account. Once you sign up, you can have, if you use the free version, that is only, you will not be able to use the desktop version. So let me see if I can pull up the price. And I don't know why my system is slow today. Okay, so you can try with the free version, but if you are on the free version, you'll be able to use the Claude Web alone. You can't use the Cowork version. But once you are on the Pro or Max, you can now use the Cowork. You can now use Cowork. So make sure you log or sign up to Claude first. Then when you download the desktop version, it will now prompt you, after installation, it will prompt you to log into your Claude account. Once you log in, you'll see this kind of, you'll see the UI like this, and you have your chat, which, like we said, is the normal chat. The one you should focus on is the Cowork. This is where the main activities happen. And for Claude, for code, you should not bother about it unless you're a developer. Yeah. Do you have a question, Matthew?
Oh, no. No.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay. So once you are here, the first thing I suggest you do is click on the profile panel here and go to settings. Once you're on the settings, you should add the global writing preference. So this is the writing preference of how Claude writes for me. In fact, for any of the AI tools I use, I always use this kind of prompt to make sure that it writes like a human and not with the way that makes it look like AI. So this is a very lengthy instruction. I can share this if you want it, but you just put your writing preferences. If you've not been using Claude and you've been using ChatGPT, the next thing you should do, okay, you can also set up enable your notifications, whichever one. One of them is once it finishes a task, it can notify you, it can send you an email, or it can send you a message on your phone if you're using Dispatch. Then the next one is your account. Okay, I think capabilities, yes. Okay, so this is an important aspect. Just ensure that you enable memory here so that it will remember your conversations across different chats. Then you can also enable generate memory from chat history. If you have been using ChatGPT, you can import your memory from ChatGPT or any other tool that you've been working on. What Anthropic did here is to give you a prompt that you can post or you can use on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will write everything it knows about you based on your previous one, because most people have been using ChatGPT over the years, and ChatGPT knows about them a lot as far as you've enabled memory in ChatGPT. So to do that, you can click on Start Import. It will bring up this modal. Then you can copy the prompt here. Once you copy it, you can go to ChatGPT, paste it in ChatGPT. Just paste it. ChatGPT will give you everything it knows about you. You come back and paste it here and click Add to Memory. Once you do that, Claude will now know how you work, because most of us have been using AI for a long time. So you don't need to start explaining to Claude who you are, what you do, all those things. ChatGPT would, or any other tool that you use, will provide that information. It doesn't even mean that you stop using the other tools, but at least it will make it faster for Claude to catch up with the way you do things. Then ensure that this one is enabled. You can enable artifacts, AI-powered artifacts, inline visualization. These are very good when it's doing like presentations or visualizations for you. You may be able to see that. Then just try to enable a couple of these things. And if you want, you can specify your website. So it has access to our website. So most of the things that it gives us, it always looks at our website to pick information from there. So it's always on context. So this is where you have the skills, which we'll come back to. Okay, let's go to skills. You can customize your skills. Once you click that customize button, it will take you to this page. You can also access the customize button on the sidebar. So this is where you have your skills, and we have this skills creator. So as you work, you can tell Claude to create skills for anything you do. So whatever you're doing, you can tell Claude, but there are built-in skills like schedule skill, context skill, word skill, different things. If Claude has all those kind of things, it would enable it for you. Then you have connectors. You can connect to your Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, all the tools that I use. So these are the 4 tools I use with Claude Code here. So I use Gamma. Gamma is very good for presentations. You can generate, it has a generous free plan, so you can generate presentations with Gamma on their app, or you can connect it to Claude, and you can, from your Claude Cowork panel or Claude Chat, generate presentations, then edit it further in Gamma. To enable any connector, you can click on this plus button and browse connectors. Here you will see different connectors. Okay, and you can also filter by different categories. So health, life sciences. But if you scroll down, you can see different things: Figma, MamiChat, Notion, Monday.com, Wix, Stripe, Miro, different things that probably you use for work. You can connect them to Claude, and Claude will be able to use them. Okay, sorry, I need to plug in my power. So you can connect, and you can also do custom connectors, but that one you may just ask Claude to write a code for you, and it will write the code and you paste it wherever you want. The next one is the plugins. For the plugins, you have productivity plugin, design, marketing. So you can enable any of these plugins. Remember that plugins are a group of skills put together. So if I want to enable marketing plugin, I will just click the plus button. If I want to do productivity, I will do the plus button. Data, finance, which other one is necessary for me? Sales. So it just depends on what you want. You can see a couple of the plugins here. Okay, so these are the basic settings that you can do. Okay, then you have your projects here. You can create, once you go on the sidebar projects, you can also create a new project. Ensure that you're in Cowork so that Cowork will work on this project. Then you have your scheduled task. You can schedule a new task that will run at specified periods of time, or maybe when something triggers, like if you get an email, they should do something for you. Then dispatch is when you want to connect it to your phone. You just follow the prompts. We can do this at some other time. Okay, so I will also stop here for now. And does anybody have any question so far? Okay. Let me just 1 minute. Let me pick. Okay, so what we'll do now is to do some practice on different tasks. Before I look at the form and see if anybody has completed the form, let me create a new task, which I would ask Claude. Okay, you will just use the example that they gave here, daily briefing. So the idea is that I want every day Claude should go to my email, my calendar, and summarize my emails and meeting notes and highlight anything urgent. So here I can create daily briefing and give it the description, summarize my calendar and inbox for the day, and so the prompt will be check Google Calendar for today's meeting, summarize email, and highlight anything urgent. Frequency is, you can do it daily or hourly. So I will set it for daily, and I will say, what's the time today? 2037. So I will do 2040. Every night, summarize it. You can select your model. So the best model Claude has is Opus 4.6. But this is for doing complex tasks that take time, but it takes more credit or more of your resources. So Claude Sonnet 4.6 is equally very good, but for simple things. For this kind of task, I'll give it to, I'll use Claude Sonnet. And I will now select a folder where it would save the summaries that it generates every day. Now, we've not created a folder yet. So what I would do is to go to my documents and let me just be sure. In my documents, I will create a new folder and I will call it Claude Cowork. So I have this folder in my documents. I call it Claude Cowork. For my daily summaries, remember we said for each project, create a new folder for each project, right? So for my daily summaries, I will just add a new folder, daily summaries. And I have to, Okay, I've not, so it's daily summaries. So what I would do is that I would make this 45 daily summaries, and I'll select the folder that I just created for daily summaries. So if I go to my Claude Cowork, I will select daily summaries. I will enable always allow. I'll select always allow because it's it will be running every day at 8:45. So I'll click save. So the schedule has been set up. You notice that I toggled this on keep awake. So schedule tasks run only while your computer is awake. So if your computer goes to sleep when it's idle, it will not work. So this keep awake would keep your computer on till you shut down or you close your computer or laptop, but it will not go to idle anymore. So hopefully in the next 5 minutes, Claude would give me my daily briefing on my email. Okay, let's go to projects, and we are going to create a new project. You can start from scratch or import from your existing project if you're using Claude before, or you can use an existing folder that you have. So we're going to use an existing folder since we've created it. So I will select this one and click on select folder. Still go back to my computer and do Claude Cowork. Select folder, and I don't have any instructions yet. So, but I'll create it. I can come back and add instructions later when I'm sure of what I want to do. Now, you can also add the files you want to work on, but make sure your memory is on. I think once you set it in the settings, once you've enabled it in the settings, it will always be on. Then you click create. So you now have a project. Okay. So it's asking me what I want to do in this project. So remember, so now Claude can only work on this project. It can't go to the other folders in my application, in my computer. It will only work in this Claude Cowork project folder that I've given it access to. So let's find out if anybody has completed the form and see what problems we faced this week. Okay, thank you for those that have completed the form and see. Okay, working on budgets. Okay, I think I have a sample data that I have on budget, but so let me give you an example of how Claude can work on budget. Okay, let me see. Okay, I don't have a good description of what you mean the budget is, but let's play with other things. Let me see my download folder. Let's start with that one and build it up. So you see my download folder. I don't have any folder, and although it's not much, but I will tell Claude to go to my download folder and clean it out for me. So what I would do is so I have this prompt that I can use and I will say my download folder is messy. Please make folders inside it, documents, pictures, videos. Put each file in the right folder based on what kind of file it is. If a file is older than 6 months, put it in an old files folder. Do not delete any files. And when you are done, make a simple note and tells me what you did. I don't think I have anything older than 6 months, but let's just see what it does for us. So this one will be quite quick. So once you start any chart, you'll see it working. And we've not given this project and given any instruction for this project, but we should also give instructions for this project. So what I will do, I will just go to my other computer and bring a project we are supposed to work on as well today. So he has done it. Okay, so no, I need to allow it to be able to work on my computer, on the download folder, since it's not inside this project folder. And if I want, we can see what it's doing when it starts working. You see it creating the files for you. So let's see if we can do that. So you see, it's creating the files, the folders. And it's gonna move everything inside the folders. It has cleaned it out for you quite quickly. And he has made the note of what he did in my downloads folder. So the downloads cleanup. So he has finished. You can come over here and view what he did. Okay. Now, you see, it notified me that my scheduled task is now running. I don't know if anybody saw that notification, but it's already running. So you can also add a new project or open an existing project that you are working on. But if I go back to my folder, let's see if he has given me the daily briefing of my email. Okay, it's still working. So he hasn't put it's checking my emails now. After some time, we'll see the daily summaries of all my meetings and important emails. That one may take time. Okay, let's do another task. Does anybody have any tasks that they would like to solve now so that I don't use any general example? So the scheduled task has completed. I got a notification. So he has dropped the daily briefing for me. So he can do this for you all the time. So if I look at it, so he has given me summary of my emails and what I need to do tomorrow, the meetings I have, other meetings I have, or other things, low priority, different things I need to do. So he can give you those information, send it to your phone or anywhere you've scheduled it to notify you. Now, the next thing, let's try and do a bit of a complex thing now. Just give me 2 minutes. Let me get the correct folder. I'll show you. Yes, you can change the background if you want. And yes, we're going to share the prompts with you after the call. Let me see. Does anybody have any other question? Okay, so the monthly subscription is $20 per month. That is sufficient for you. If you use Claude Sonnet 4.6 for most of the tasks, you can be able to use it for any task you want to do. But for complex tasks, you use Opus 4.6. Now, you have daily limits and you have weekly limits. Okay, let me share the form. You have daily limits and you have weekly limits. So for your daily limit, it resets every 5 hours, but depending on the kind of work you have, you may not even exhaust your daily limit or even your weekly, but sometimes you may. But if you use it so much, it will tell you, okay, you've exceeded your daily limit, you continue the next day. If you exceed your weekly limit, it will tell you, okay, you've exceeded your weekly limit, you continue maybe in the next 3 or 4 days. But generally, you can do most of your work, in fact, all of your work with the $20 plan. Okay, so for some reason, I'm not seeing the document I created. Okay, so what I would do is to ensure I have. Let me send it here. Any other question? Keep the questions coming while I saw this document. I've done the document. I just need to confirm. Fortunately, this is not so good. Just any question that does not require any task that does not require heavy documentation. So, for example, if the way I told you to check my emails, let's say generate Instagram carousel or social media content, those kind of things that will not take so much time, you use Sonnet. But if you want to, let's say, tender for a bid or prepare heavy documentation for a bid, I will suggest you use Claude, Opus 4.6. If you want to build simple websites, you should use either Sonnet or Opus 4.6. If it's complex, then definitely Opus 4.6. If you want to do data analysis, use Opus 4.6. I'm trying to get Okay, so what I will do here, I don't know which one. Okay, let's just give Claude a simple task. I want to do an example. I have these documents, financial templates that I did. So for example, if I say create uh, create finance 3 years financial forecast for my workable, which is our company, in Excel, and include the formulas. Our target revenue is, let's say, 100,000. Okay. Also create a presentation slide using Gamma to show us how we can achieve this target. So this is something I will call a bit of a complex thing. So what I would do, I can use Claude Sonnet, but if it was a serious work, for this kind of work, I will use Opus, because I'm trying to get an idea of how I can make £100,000 in a year, and Claude should be able to give me an idea. So one of the things I will do is use ask question to get clarifications from me. Okay, so once I do this, I will just open this work. It will now load the necessary tool and help me ask clarifying questions. Yeah, okay, so it's asking me the questions. Remember, it has understanding of my business already, so there are things I don't need to tell it. So it's asking me which is Workable's primary business. Okay, so one thing I missed here is that it has forgotten my information, because I've not produced instructions and details and context here for it to use. So when you are using projects, always add your context, so it doesn't ask you more questions. So I will say services and consulting. When do you want to hit 100,000 target? You tell me end of year. I will say end of year 1. What is Workable's annual revenue? I will say 10K. What costs should be included in the forecast? I'll put software tools, marketing, art, admin. These ones are important. You can skip any of these questions, but these are the 4 questions he wants to clarify to help me build the financial forecast. Once I click this, it will now start generating the financial forecast. Now, one of the things I've not done is for us to create those about me page, project structure and folder. So I did it intentionally like this so that you can see how you can work with it. But if you now organize your work well, it will now become more structured, and you can give it a persistent memory to work on. So once while it's working, so one of the things that Claude does is that it can run multiple tasks at a time. So I can, So it's running this. You can even start a new chat and tell it to do things. So you can do as many different things for you at the same time so that you are not waiting for one task to finish before you start another one. So I can go and tell it, okay, go to check Google. Okay, check Google Map and extract business details of legal companies in Birmingham, Birmingham, right? So the details you should get is a company name, website, and what else is on Google Maps? Telephone. What else is on Google Maps is address. So the email addresses are not on the on Google Maps. So what I will say again is put this in Excel table, then okay, I will say 10 so that 10 businesses, 10 top rated businesses, right? Then browse each of the websites and add contact name, about the company, email, contact email, and areas where AI can help them. So for your business, you can put this kind of thing. You can even make this prompt much better, or for your work, whichever one you're doing. So what this will do is to go to Google, get this information, go through their emails, extract the details, everything from each of these emails, and populate it on a sheet for me. And I now have a lead for maybe 1 or 2 days that I can now reach out to. So I will click go. Fortunately, I wanted to also see that they can do things, other ones can be happening. I think he has oh, okay. It's telling me that I've hit my limit because I've been using this for some time now, unfortunately. Let's see. So it resets for the week. But let's see what he has done. Oh, okay, he couldn't even do this one. Okay, but if you exceed your limits, then you can also click here to buy extra. You don't need to upgrade your plan to 100, but you can just buy extra units and continue your work. Let's say you're doing something quite important and it took your time. You can buy extra usage and just complete. I think you can buy from £5 or $5 to $100 or £100, as much as you want. Let's see. Now you can buy extra usage of $5 and let's see this. We can try and initiate a payment. So any questions so far? Okay, we are running over, and does anybody have any question? And unfortunately, we need to close out for today. What will happen is that we can schedule another call for next. What's this? What will happen is that we can schedule another call for next week, and I'll also share the link to join and to register to your emails. Does that sound okay? I think since we've all at least seen how Claude works, we can now do a lot of practice in the next week session. Does that sound like a good idea? Now, I also like to share so our main course, we have a course so we have a course that is coming up on the 4th of May. So in this course, we go into details of mastering generative AI for work. So we've just touched the tip of the iceberg, just Claude Cowork. But there are a lot of ways, automations, things that you can learn to make you stand out and make you be able to save time. So it's a 4 weeks program. We run the sessions weekly. You have your videos to watch during the week, but the live sessions are weekends. It starts on 4th of May. So there we'll cover AI literacy and foundations. We learn a lot of things about AI literacy for modern work, chatbot assistants for productivity. So instead of using only Claude, you can build chatbots for yourself. We also learn workplace automation and digital AI agents. I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot about AI agents. We also cover that in the course. Then if you want to build websites, if you want to build web apps, do your social media, images, video generation, music, we're also going to cover it there. For your business, we also cover AI ethics, governance, and strategy for work. So if the price is normally $977, but we currently offering it at $497. I will be sharing a coupon code which you can also use just because you attended this program, maybe to give you like 10% off, and send the link to your emails to sign up. When I'm sharing the web, the videos, and the slides, I may just add this if you want to sign up to the course. Then for the slides, I'll also share it in the email. Typically, what we do is we post it on LinkedIn, and you can download the slides that I used today on LinkedIn. So if you can also follow us on LinkedIn, so that our trainings will reach more people. That would be appreciated. Next week, we'll also share details of the webinar we'll run next week. Any questions? Okay. Thank you for joining the session today, and I look forward to seeing you next week.